Previously, we saw how the vowels change in English, shifting from a, e, I, o, u to a, e, I, o, u. Now they are a, e, I, o, and u. But this change is true only for long syllables. Now, in addition to this, and thanks to the French and other Nordic influences, English adopted other vocalic sounds. However, these sounds were not adopted consistently in all places, and due to their nature, their pronunciation has a tendency to vary. Now, in this episode, let's take a look at the digraph AU, which is usually pronounced Now, this combination, AU, is generally pronounced as a mixture of mouth positions between the A and O. So it's It's a combination again. And O, However, this sound is not equal to either an A or an O. Now you can see it is not a pure vowel, which means the level of resonance is limited and cannot become as loud as either the A or the O. It limits the resonance in the mouth. Therefore, it's not a pure vowel. Now, we can see this same sound in French. For example, in the phrase "au le cinéma," is this sound that I was referring to. So this influenced English. Let's see some English examples. Offer, authority, dinosaur, aunt. Now, one of the problems with this sound is that it will have a tendency to be pronounced as A or O in specific situations. When you want to speak loud, you are going to have a tendency to either say A or O, right? Because as I said earlier, does not have enough resonance and it cannot be loud. Now, as we can see here, this sound is not exclusive to the AU combination. We can hear this sound in other spellings. Let's take a look here. Ma. It's not mol and it's not mal. It's ma. This one's tall. And this here is war. Here, some more spellings that are actually exceptions to this. For example, this is alien. Here the A is long. Here's alphabet, where the A is just a simple A, alphabet. And here it's align, where the A is normal and the I is long. So as English as a second language students, how can we tell the difference when looking at a word? Yes, once you learn the word, you know, but during the learning process, it is difficult to grasp all these different associated sounds. So the traditional system wants us to study other methods, such as the International Phonetic Alphabet, and learn separately the pronunciation of each word, which is a long and difficult solution. Moreover, native English speakers usually do not learn to speak following the International Phonetic Alphabet, so they don't always follow the rules of the International Phonetic Alphabet. This makes it even more challenging for someone who's learning English. And sometimes if you hear someone speaking, for example, with a British accent and then an American accent, and of course there are different accents from different parts of America and from England, it just becomes very confusing. So how much time does a non-native English student have to dedicate to learn English? Now, this is why learning English is one of the biggest industries in the world. Learning English is a very big industry, and there are many, very many different methods. I am providing an alternative solution, which is to learn and indicate the main vocalic sounds showing the associated mouth positions. For example, let's look at this phrase here. Learning English can be easier if you understand the basic vocalic sounds. Now, those who are just listening to the podcast are not going to be able to see this, so I'm going to leave a link to my YouTube podcast so you can see this. But there are many different pronunciations to each of these vowels. Here the A is indicated as a schwa. For learning, the A is indicated as a schwa. English, the E is long, so it's English. Can, and then in can, it depends on where you are from in the English word. In England, you're most likely to say can. But in America, you're probably going to say can, because in America, they put a schwa before the a. So they go can instead of just can. B, again, the E is long. Easier, then the E is long and the A is basically a schwa. Easy. If, you, this O here becomes a U. You. Understand. The U here becomes a schwa, which almost sounds like an a. Understand. The in THE, since the next word starts with a consonant, the E becomes a schwa. The. Basic. In basic, the A is long. In vocalic, we can see just the regular, normal sounds of the Latin alphabet. Just a little softer, with the mouth a little closed. So in Latin, we probably will pronounce vocalic, where in English they say vocalic, right? And then sounds. Here we see that the O basically becomes an A. Sounds. Learning English can be easier if you understand the basic vocalic sounds. Once you know what the basic vocalic sounds are and what are the associated mouth positions, it is easier to identify these sounds when they are pronounced by either a native English speaker or even a person who speaks English as a second language and has a tendency to use the vowels and pronounce them more close to the Latin pronunciation, which, by the way, was the original pronunciation used in English. You can find a link in the description to my main page where you can get more information on how to learn these 15 vocalic sounds. Thank you.